The content in this video is designed for simulation purposes only and is not for real-world use.
Qantas 479 Melbourne Centre, g'day. Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, descend to flight level 290.
Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, we'll descend to 290. Qantas 479.
Couple things to note there. The first is the use of flight level 290 as the standard initial descent. My thought process behind flight level 290 there is the Sydney TCU upper limit is flight level 285. So departures are cleared to flight level 280, and having that extra 1,000 feet of separation just built in there would be a good thing to have in case of something like lost comms or rogue aircraft, just to assure separation with the departures. And the circumstances where a departure at flight level 280 would conflict with an arrival at 290 probably pretty limited. So the new best practice for initial descents is to consider the underlying airspace. So flight level 250 would be a perfectly acceptable level for Gundagai to give, because the Canberra TMA upper limit is flight level 245. So then you got that 1,000 feet separation with the Canberra TMA. Then once they're clear of Canberra, drop them down to 10,000. The other thing to note there is my terrible use of the CFL highlight. I'm in a very bad habit of toggling the highlight off. 39 resume normal speed. Of toggling the highlight off before the readback is confirmed as correct. That's not good practice. You should wait until you actually hear the readback before you toggle it off. You might see a few times in this video that I toggle off the highlight as I give the level, and then if they read it back incorrectly, I turn the highlight back on. It's just like, no, just don't do that. Try to avoid it. I'm trying to fix that myself.
Normal speed, Qantas 539.
A lot of the handoffs to Sydney TCU in this video, I give resume normal speed. You can do that. It's probably also good to just say reduce speed 250 knots into published. The reason why is because then obviously they slow to the 250 knots, which they need to be at below 10,000 feet, and then to publish they'll start to slow down into the published speed on the star. Qantas 539, contact Sydney approach 128.3. G'day.
128.3, thanks. Qantas 539.
So yeah, 250 into published is probably a better handoff speed to give than 127 resume normal speed.
Resume normal speed, fraction 127.
It is still effectively the same thing though, because even if I've given normal speed, they should still be at 250 and then into the published speeds. Qantas 479, report mark number.
Mark number decimal 8. Qantas 479.
Qantas 479. I'm already thinking about sequencing these guys, even though they're very far out. I can see that they basically are sequenced now, but I'm looking at the ground speeds and PHP, whatever that bloody call sign is. Yeah, 5.2, sort of dropping to 5.1 occasionally, but yeah, it's sort of closing speed. I'm just thinking about if there might be any action that needs to be taken there. Always good to look at that stuff early, particularly now when it's not as busy. And you can sort of see that I'm having a look at that little bottom left of the display there, and I'm seeing two aircraft right on top of each other, so that's going to be a bit of a challenge, and that's when things start to get busy. So those sort of smaller sequences, when you can get mark number reports, just start thinking about it as best practice. Might be a good time to mention that the display setup I have at the moment is alright. It's best to have 50 miles on all sides of the airspace. There is SOPs on this, I'll link them in the description of the video. Do what you can with your monitor setup. Obviously in this particular scenario, I don't care about Katoomba, the sector, it's sort of at the top. So ideally I would not be controlling this sector at all, right? Because I care about the sequence that's here, not this area of airspace. But of course you can't get rid of this airspace because it's part of the standard sector for Gundagai. So when you do have sort of dead airspace that you don't care
Center, thank the Mayor 2. Good evening.
Yeah, when you do have sections of dead airspace that you don't care about, I mean, you can't release it, but sometimes you just need to prioritize looking at your sequence. Do your best to try to keep everything on one display if you do have that luxury though. Often my, what I do is I zoom in on my main display and then I have a second air window open on a second monitor that has all of my airspace, so I can see at least 50 miles on all sides. And that's what I did this night as well. So yeah, I mean, limitations of home displays is sort of what we have to consider, but that's all right. Station calling Melbourne Centre, just confirm the call sign.
Phantom Air to Melbourne Centre, good evening.
Phantom Air to Melbourne Centre, g'day. Cleared Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, descend to flight level 290.
Can you just repeat the runway? Was it runway 16 right?
Hey firm, runway 16 right.
Clear Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, descend flight level 280.
Negative, flight level 290.
290, Phantom Air 2, thank you.
Tasman 34, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012. Something to note there is the most correct phraseology would be descend via star to 10,000. I didn't know this at the time, but the reason why is because descend via star also requires the aircraft to comply with published speed restrictions. So whenever you assign a level that is at or below 10,000, remember of course there is going to be published speed restrictions that apply, so descend via star is the correct phraseology there. My approach before I knew that was just to always, whenever there was no level restrictions, I wouldn't use descend via star. So there's no level restrictions on the Rivet 4 to 10,000. The first one is at or above 8,000 feet. So I didn't use descend via star, but actually if you're assigning 10,000 or below, use descend via star because that requires aircraft to comply with published speed. Tasman 34, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Send to 10,000, Sydney QH 1012, Tasman 34.
Fraction 127, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
Approach 128.3, fraction 127.
You'll notice I highlight the handoff aircraft to report mark number using the IQL function there, which is when you middle click on the radar return. The best practice is to use the coordination prompt or the C prompt, and there's SOPs on that in the I believe it's controller skill, or no, it might be client usage page of the SOPs. It's also in the C1 Moodle. So the gist is to the left of where the runway would be on the tag. If you middle click that, you can display the C prompt. Toggle on the C prompt when all coordination for an aircraft is complete, or when voice coordination is not required. So for example, with the voiceless coordination arrangements we have with the Sydney TCU, there's no voice coordination required, so you can just toggle the C prompt on immediately. Then you remove the C prompt once you've handed off the tag to the next sector and the pilot has read back the new frequency. So that just indicates who is on your frequency, who needs to be transferred. It's a good tool to use.
Phantom Air to current mark number 0.8.
Phantom Air 2, thanks. Reduce to mark decimal 79er.
Phantom Air 2 reduced to mark decimal 79er.
So obviously I definitely inbound Sydney information November now. Current changes, winds 190 degrees, 14 knots. The weather is still rain, cloud, few 1,100, scattered 1,700, broken 2,400. That's changes Sydney information November. So yeah, two things there. The first is obviously that early speed assignment. The thought philosophy there is that dropping is marked down by, just so there's that little differential there, probably just best. I just don't want this gap to close any further than it already has. I want these ground speeds to sort of be the exact same so they can just maintain that really well sequenced 2-minute gap there all the way. Second thing was the ATC broadcast. Definitely don't forget to do those unless you're really busy. Obviously you can delay them. They're not important. They're not more important than sequencing. But yeah, just try to read them out when you can, especially if there's a QNH change or something like that. And that applies most particularly for approach sectors. Qantas 460 center. So this is sort of a period where it is very quiet. One thing you can do in these periods that I didn't do here was a long distance scan. So have a look at what's approaching, see if you can identify any conflicts early. That'll make things much easier for you when you get into busy periods. Qantas 506, reduce speed on descent to 60 knots or less.
260 knots or less, Qantas 506.
Phantom Air 2, we're gonna slowly descend down to flight level 280 now.
Negative. The instruction was when ready, descend to flight level 290, and you can, because it's when ready, you can descend at your top of descent.
Yeah, flight level 290, sorry about that. Phantom Air 2.
In terms of the sort of mini sequence here between Qantas 506 and Tasman 34, should be anchoring a BRL between those two if you can. That just allows you to monitor that more closely. I didn't do that at the time, I just sort of dropped the speed of this guy, but yeah, use BRLs for that kind of stuff.
Melbourne Center, g'day, Qantas 460 at flight level 370.
Qantas 460, Melbourne Centre, g'day, cleared, rivet for arrival, runway 16 right, flight level 370.
Cleared rivet for arrival, runway 16.
Qantas 460, confirm, runway 16 right, flight level 370.
Yeah, sorry, 16 right, flight level 370, Qantas 460.
Qantas 506, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Center 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012, Qantas 506.
Melbourne Centre, Thai 472, currently at flight level 215, climbing to flight level 280.
Thai 472, Melbourne Centre, g'day, climb to flight level 380.
Climbing to flight level 380, Thai 472.
I'm doing my best to work out the TFMS there, but I just couldn't get it working, so I didn't use it for this milk run. Qantas 460, report mark number.
0.747, Qantas 460.
Qantas 460, thanks, reduced to mark decimal 73 or less.
73 or less, Qantas 460.
Thought process there is I'm going to get the overtake for Qantas 27 Lima. You can see his ground speed is just way higher. Look at that, it's 5.6 versus 4.9. It's also a heavy. So if he can overtake Qantas 460, then yeah. I'm assuming that I'm going to need to vector Qantas 460 at some point because that's quite a large distance. They're not going to be able to achieve that with speed control. But the speed control will just help out. Here's a good example of a very brief long range scan. Just do that every now and then when you're not busy. Have a look at what's coming and see if you can identify any conflicts early. Qantas 506, reduce speed 230 knots.
This speed 230 knots, Qantas 506.
Main reason for that is just so I can get this guy slowed down. You don't want them too fast in the TMA just because that makes it hard and they might end up needing some vector.
Melbourne Centre, g'day, velocity 897 at 12330.
Velocity 897, Melbourne Centre, g'day, cleared, rivet for arrival, runway 16 left, flight level 330.
Cleared the river for arrival, runway 16 left, flight level 330, velocity 897. Is there any chance we can get 16 right at all?
Negative, unavailable.
Okay, copy that, velocity 897.
Never be afraid to say that. You don't have to accommodate a pilot request for a runway during an event. That's sort of crazy. Unless there's an operational requirement. Tasman 34, reduce speed to 290 knots until 10,000 feet.
Reduce speed 290 until 10,000, Tasman 34.
Tasman 34, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
123, have a good night, Tasman 34.
Yeah, unless there is an operational requirement that is legitimate because of the aircraft type, it's just don't even, like, especially in this situation, right? I've decided on a plan. The plan is he is going to Qantas 27 Lima will overtake Qantas 460. They'll be number 1 in this little mini sequence. Qantas 460 will be number 2. The delay required to get this guy on 16 right would sort of be ridiculous when he can just go to 16 left just as easily. So at Sydney, you've got the benefit of parallel runways. That's why Sydney has parallel runways, because it can handle way more traffic. Don't be afraid to use them, even if a pilot prefers 16 right. They all want 16 right. It's a shorter taxi. But if at the end of the day it's an event, that's how that sim works. So if there's no operational requirement, then it's fine. Qantas 5086, contact Sydney approach 128.3. G'day.
128.3, Qantas 506, g'day.
Qantas 27 Lima, Centre. Right now, I do want him to call because I want to get speed control on that guy as soon as possible. He is quite fast, but if I can get him up just a tiny little bit with the speed, that would be very helpful. Might help out with the overtake, and that means less vectoring.
Melbourne Center, Qantas X-ray, Lima 1, fly level 247, descend to fly level 090 via Boeing 1 Alpha.
Qantas 489, speed on descent 270 knots until 10,000.
Stand by, Qantas X-ray, Lima 1.
Now you can't hear me coordinating, but I'm just saying to Eldon Weir, no contact with Qantas 27 Lima.
Okay, you read it back. I'll try it again, otherwise might need to contact me.
Just a note, a lot of people will just send to contact me. Never do that. If an aircraft is with another sector, never send to contact me. It's not allowed. Like, you just can't. It's ridiculous, because what happens is a pilot they're with a controller, they haven't received a handoff from that controller, and now another controller is messaging them, asking them to contact them. Like, that is so confusing for the pilot. They don't know whether to stay with the guy that they think is controlling them right now, or comply with the contact me. Don't do it. It makes VATPAC ATC look unprofessional, because it makes us look disorganized and like we're not coordinating and not getting handoffs done properly.
Jetstar 501.
Jetstar 501, Melbourne Centre, g'day. Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, descent correction, maintain, fly level 370.
Good, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right, maintain, fly level 370, Jetstar 501.
The station calling before Jetstar 501 that I told to stand by. Say again, please.
Qantas X-ray, Lima 1, fly level 221, descend to 90,000 feet.
Qantas X-ray, Lima 1, wrong frequency. Contact center 123.75.
123.75 for Qantas X-ray, Lima 1. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Good evening, Qantas 27 Lima 390.
Qantas 27 Lima, Melbourne Centre, g'day. Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right, flight level 390.
Rivet 4 arrival for runway 16 right, Qantas 27 Lima.
Qantas 27 Lima, report mark number.
Mach 0.85, Qantas 27 Lima.
Qantas 27 Lima, thanks. Maintain Mark decimal 85.
Copy.
Qantas 479, descend to 1. The readback there probably could have been enforced. Maintain the mark is actually an instruction that's different from him just reporting his mark. The pilot may not realize that those are different things, but what I'm saying is, ordinarily you would be able to control your speed as you please, but I am now putting a restriction on you that I want you at Mark 85. Mark 0.85, hopefully not Mark 85. That would probably help out my sequence, but wouldn't go down too well for the aircraft. So yeah, I'm not going to put him any higher than 8.5. That would be a little bit much, and I'm not sure whether that 8.5 sounds like it'd be his maximum. I don't know. But yeah, I would just maintain 8.5 would be fine. Or, I keep saying 8.5. Maintain 0.85. Hopefully he's not flying at 85 times the speed of sound. 0,000 Sydney QNH 1012.
10,000 Sydney QNH 1012, Qantas 409.
Qantas 460, when ready, descend to flight level 290. Qantas 460, when ready, descend to flight level 290. Qantas 460. I'm anticipating that I'm going to give a reclearance to that guy for the Odell Star, so I'm just typing it. I usually type it to all aircraft, just so that I don't have to phonetically read out the waypoints. It saves time on frequency.
Qantas 460, mic check.
Qantas 460, readability 5. The decision to accept Jetstar 720 probably wasn't the right one in this situation. If you do see something like this where you've been given a handoff and you've got another aircraft controlled by a different controller, and there's a potential conflict there, don't accept the handoff. That's not sort of legit. Like, what's to stop the controller of Qantas 465 just sending them into Jetstar 720? You never know, it could happen. So if you do see stuff like that, it's just best not to accept the handoff. Velocity 897, rerouting available. The phraseology there, rerouting available, isn't ideal for this situation. Probably best to say something like velocity 897, amended clearance when you're ready to copy. Otherwise it sort of sounds like it's an option for the pilot, but it's not an option. I'm rerouting him because I need him on the Odell Star for sequencing purposes, so just be careful about the phrases you use.
Ready to copy velocity 897.
Velocity 897, re-cleared direct Macca, thereafter Acmere, Odell, for the Odell 7 arrival, runway 16 left, flight level 330. I just wrote that in chat for you so you can read it back.
Okay, got that. Re-cleared direct Macca, then Acme, Odell for the Odell 7 for 16 left, velocity 897, will maintain 330.
Melbourne Centre, g'day, Jetstar 720, flight level 350.
Jetstar 720, Melbourne Centre, g'day, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 left, when ready, correction, maintain, flight level 350.
Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 left, Jetstar 720.
Stations inbound Sydney information, Oscar now current, changes, wind 190 degrees, 11 knots, visibility 6 kilometres, light showers of rain, clouds scattered 900, scattered 1900, broken 2400, changes Sydney information, Oscar.
Ashanti, hello, this is Jet 534, level at 410.
So obviously this aircraft has just called me while I'm in the middle of rerouting an FDR. So it's still best to just say acknowledge them, VistaJet 534 standby, or Melbourne Centre g'day standby, even while you're in the middle of something.
724 maintaining flight level 350.
And there you go, that's the reason. The reason why is because now someone else has just taken that opportunity with the gap on frequency to call me. Try not to leave gaps on frequencies if you can, because you get situations like this where now 2 aircrafters have called and have received no response, so you've got to sort of get back to them and you've got a bit of a queue forming. Just best to maintain positive control over the frequency at all times. This does come into play, and I think that this is one of my pretty good sessions on frequency control later on when sequencing gets really busy. So it's more just like moving from one task to the next and keeping the frequency busy enough that people aren't going to jump in and step over each other and have multiple calls pending your response. Jetstar 724, Center, good day, standby, break, VistaJet 534, Center.
VistaJet 534.
VistaJet 534, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right, flight level 410.
Rivet 216 right, 410, VistaJet 5, correction, Rivet 4, VistaJet 534.
And this is why I use the green highlight by middle clicking on the tag. So the aircraft that haven't called me, they're highlighted green, so I know to get back to them later. Obviously this guy hasn't called me, but this guy has called me, and I believe I just said standby. So important to make sure you keep on top of that stuff. I also have filled in the runway and the star for that guy, so that is, it's probably best to do that while you're giving the star clearance, because it sort of looks like from a scan, if it weren't for the green highlight, that Jetstar 724 has already received his star clearance. Obviously he hasn't. So yeah, that's why I try to use those tools to help manage your workload effectively. It's use it however you want, that those tools are available to you. Find a workflow with that highlight, keep it consistent so you know when to come back to people. You can always use the F9 free text field to literally write down notes or things you need to come back to as well. But it's just all about finding a system that allows you to manage your workload most effectively, which is extremely important during situations like this.
Center, good afternoon, Qantas 198 with you, flight level 350.
Qantas 198, Center, g'day, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right, flight level 350.
Cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, 16 right for Qantas 198.
Velocity, the level should be read back, but it's just up to you on how pedantic you want to be enforcing that. Usually I do, but when it is kind of busy, I want to move on straight away. I just sort of let it go in this situation. The 897, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
When ready, descend 290, velocity 897.
Qantas 479, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
128.3, who just the Qantas 479.
Phantom Air 2, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Descend 10,000 feet, Sydney QNH 1012, Phantom Air 2.
Qantas 27 Lima, descend to flight level 320.
320, Qantas 279.
Jetstar 724, star clearance available.
Ready, 724.
Jetstar 724, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right, correction, runway 16 left, maintain flight level 350.
Rivet 4 arrival and maintain flight level 350. Any chance we can get 16 right drop requirement?
Sorry, did you say operational requirement?
AFIRM.
What is the operational requirement? Your A320.
Oh.
Jetstar 724, like I can give you the runway, I can accommodate the request, but it'll be 20 minutes of en route holding for sequencing. This is a good way to approach this situation, I believe. So he has said operational requirement. There is no operational requirement, and A320 can obviously land on 16 left. So that's just simply a fact, right? Pilots want the shorter taxi. That's the reason why they're asking for the other runway. But at the end of the day, in this situation, it's really busy. I've got a big sequence going. I've decided on a plan in order to accommodate his request, and it is a request, it's not actually a real operational requirement. To accommodate it, it would require changing that plan, and that is not my priority. So I'm happy to accommodate it if he is really insistent, but I'm letting him know that I'm just going to put him in a hold, and then when there's a gap in the 16 right sequence, he can go. That is a situation that you should, well, that's how you should really approach those kind of situations. Because at the end of the day, a lot of VATSIM controllers still have stuck in the mindset of like, I need to accommodate pilot requests at all time. During a busy event like this, no, you don't have to accommodate ridiculous requests if it's going to put your workload under huge stress. Just chuck them in a hold and they can have it when it's available, or they can just go with the plan that you've chosen to sequence the aircraft. It's your job to control the traffic. It's your job to build a sequence. You can do that using the tools. It'd be like if you try to vector someone for sequencing or give them a mark speed and they say, well, we operationally can't take a vector. It's like, okay, well, sure, then I'll put you in a hold and get back to you later, but that's how I control traffic. That's how we have to control. So yeah, do think about that. It's not always, if it's going to be a big burden on you to accommodate requests like that, you don't always have to. You can deprioritize the aircraft until the clearance is available for the other runway.
Yeah, that's fine. We'll take 16 left, 724. We're a bit late on schedule.
And yeah, you see he's late on schedule, and that's why he wanted the other runway. Like, that's not a legitimate reason for me to completely resequence everyone for him. That's just not how it works. No aircraft on VATSIM can declare themselves as having priority over other aircraft. That's essentially what he's trying to do. He's trying to say that we have an operational requirement and therefore we have priority. Like, it's okay. Just think about it before you do it. You don't have to accommodate those requests. You can just do whatever you need to for your workload purposes. Another thing I forgot to mention was I completely broke down separation assurance. I'm just going to head back a little bit. It was at the descent. I believe it was around 1920. Let's have a look. Let's play from here.
1,000 feet in QNH 1012, Pentameter.
Qantas 27 Lima, descend to flight level 320. Yeah, that is not, flight level 320 is not a separation assurance level. You can see he's at flight level 317, so the required level for separation assurance there is actually 330. Just a minor oversight by me, I misread the current level of Qantas 460. Just be careful with that stuff, because that technically isn't separation assurance. We'll head back to where we were. It was about 20, I believe. Qantas 479, contact Sydney approach 128.3. G'day. Qantas 479. Qantas 460, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
10,000 QNH 1012, Qantas 460, thanks.
So thought process here is obviously vectoring is going to be required. The overtake has sort of happened, but he's going to need at least a 2-minute delay. Good to get BRLs up and start thinking about that now. Qantas 27 Lima, descend to flight level 300.
300, Senor.
Qantas 460 for sequencing, turn left heading 360 degrees.
Left heading
That stacker is not actually a real conflict. The reason why it's doing that is just because I think that the mode Charlie altitude for one of them is deviating a little bit, so it thinks they're not separated, but they are definitely separated. He's at 290, descending to 10,000, and he's only cleared to 300. So that's one of those erroneous stackers. Does happen, but it's also important to still assess the situation whenever you get a stacker.
0.
Jetstar 720, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
When ready, descend to flight level 290, Jetstar 720.
The decision with that descent was obviously like, are these guys separated? And if they are, yes, checked. Even with this guy as well, right? Because you don't want, in 2 minutes, this aircraft, Victor Juliet Tango, I don't even know what the call sign is, will be about there, he'll be about there. You never know, they could lose 5 miles easily. A little bit of speed deviation, they could lose separation. So I made sure these two guys are both above this Jetstar aircraft, so he is going to be the one to descend first. And actually, I'm very lucky with this guy is also at 350, so he's below both of these two as well. But the first thing I noticed when I was scanning here was, that's not a great situation to be in. They will, if there was no further action taken by me, they will conflict because they're both at the same level. And you can have a look, like, 2 minutes they'll be there, they're probably going to conflict. That's not going to be 5 miles. So think about those things early. Don't just like panic vector at the last minute if you can avoid it. Try to assess those situations and take action.
VistaJet 564, we are ready to descend.
VistaJet 534, descend to flight level 380.
Descend 380, VistaJet 534.
Jetstar 720, I have a reclearance for you and a new star when you're ready to copy.
Jetstar 720.
Jetstar 720 re-cleared direct Macca, thereafter Acmere, Odal for the Odal 7 arrival, runway 16 left, flight level 290. I've just put that in chat for you.
Okay, re-clear direct Macca, Acme, Odal for the Odal 7, arrival runway 16 left, Jetstar 720, thanks.
Well, so good day, flight level 370.
Two stations at once. The station calling it flight. It's worth noting that in this situation it is sort of an uncontrollable level of traffic. This is very busy. All of these aircraft are sequencing aircraft, so this is quite a lot to do. And they've got those crossing tracks as well. They've got separation issues. You've got vectoring ongoing. This guy hasn't even bloody Phantom Air 2 hasn't even. I haven't even flashed the tag at Sydney approach yet, so I'm behind on that task as well. So you can see it can be easy to get behind. I just had two aircraft step on each other. Just try to, when you get into these situations, think, okay, I now need to go into defensive mode. I need to sort of protect my workload at all costs. I need to avoid, don't be afraid to do things like holds, if that's going to help, if it's really busy in a sequence. Control the frequency, tell people to stand by, make sure you're scanning and, following your priorities, all of that. That's sort of the best you can do, but yeah, don't worry too much if you do make some mistakes in these kind of environments. It is difficult to stay on top of everything. I think there was one more thing I was going to mention was when Qantas 460 read back his vector, he forgot to say the call sign, he just said left heading 360. Try to pick up omissions of call sign in readbacks. That is a readback error, so try to enforce that because that literally could have been any aircraft reading back that vector. Level 370, say the call sign.
That was 433.
I believe that's Qantas 433, Center, g'day, stand by for star, break, Jetstar 501, descend to flight level 360, lower will be available in approximately 3 minutes.
Descend flight level 360, I just have one.
So yeah, flight level 360 is the lowest assignable level for separation with Jetstar 720. Once he starts descending, he can sort of drop down a little bit more, maybe 350 once this guy gets to 34. But I'm looking at for the estimate 3 minutes, I'm just looking at his leader line. I'm thinking, okay, that's 2 minutes, he'll be there. Still don't have 5 miles. 3 minutes, he'll be there. Probably 5 miles. But I'm hoping that Jetstar 720 starts descending relatively soon anyway, because then I can start to get this guy lower as well. So you can see there's lots of moving parts. This guy, Jetstar 720 might not be at his top of descent yet, but Jetstar 501 probably is. 720 has more track miles than 501 on the Odal Star. So yeah, that's sort of how I'm giving that estimate, and that's the thought process there. Velocity 897, descend to 9000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Descend 9000, QH 1012, velocity 897.
Ideally, the priority would have been the handoff before that guy, and I'm getting to that now. 9000 is the level required, the voiceless coordination level for the Odal Star. Qantas 27 Lima, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
10,000, QNH 1022, contact with Lima.
Qantas 27 Lima, 1012.
1012, contact with Lima, thank you.
QNH is a very important readback item, and if they don't readback the QNH, you have to enforce that as well. Phantom Air 2, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
128.3 Phantom Air 2, thank you for the ATC, and you did good back there.
Thanks, see ya. The reason why I wrote track miles in the scratch pad was just as a hint to approach. I think he's a little bit high, 290 I mean, he could make it. It sort of depends, but he probably will need some track miles. Luckily, there's not really space in the sequence. So now what I was thinking was, okay, if he does require additional track miles, vectoring by approach, say he was going to do something like that, right? A bit of a delay vector there to get him back on the downwind and then into the runway. Is there enough space behind him in the sequence? That was my scan. And actually there's not. There's not enough space because Qantas 460 is about to be turned back in and they'll have just about 2 minutes. So now my thought is, okay, maybe I need to give Qantas 460 a little bit of extra breathing room because this guy's quite high. And if he does need extra track miles, then obviously I don't want approach to be in a situation where they have to start vectoring both and they get all really high workload. Don't forget, Sydney TMA in particular, there's already going to be vectoring for every aircraft on downwind, base, final. So approach already has a very high workload. Vectoring means workload. It means scanning, it means monitoring, it's difficult. So I don't want approach to, I want to try to make his life as easy as possible. Luckily, I look behind Qantas 460 and there's a lot of space behind Qantas 460. The next aircraft is Jetstar 501. So that's a good amount of space. I do have the wiggle room to just delay him a little bit more than I ordinarily would, just in case Qantas 27 Lima needs those track miles. Qantas 460, turn right, headings correction 100 degrees.
Turn right, heading 100, Qantas 460.
And Jetstar 720 is left throttle 350.
Jetstar 720. Jetstar 501, descend to flight level 340.
Descend to flight level 340, Jetstar 501.
So that's just above 36.
Jetstar 536, Melbourne Centre, g'day, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 right. When ready, correction, maintain flight level 330.
Good day 04, just above.
Sorry, Jetstar 536, confirm 16 right, flight level 330.
16 right, maintain 330, just above 36.
Qantas 433, star clearance available.
Qantas 433.
Qantas 433, cleared, Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 left, maintain flight level 370.
Rivet 4 arrival, runway 16 left, flight 370, Qantas 433.
Qantas 27 Lima. Correction, sorry about that. Contact Sydney approach 128 decimal 3, g'day.
Terrible.
128 decimal 3, say again, Qantas, sorry.
Qantas 27 Lima, contact Sydney approach 128 decimal 3, g'day.
128 decimal 3, Qantas 15 Lima, good night.
Good night. Qantas 460, resume navigation, cleared direct Rivet to join the star. Qantas 460, resume navigation, cleared direct Rivet to join the star.
Cleared direct to Rivet to join the star, resume navigation to Qantas 460.
Jetstar 501, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Descend to 10,000, 1012, Jetstar 501.
Jetstar 724 for sequencing, turn left heading 360 degrees.
Left heading 360 and we are approaching top descent.
Jetstar 724, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
When ready, descend flight level 290, Jetstar 724.
Jetstar 720, maintain flight 290.
And Center Qantas 198, we're approaching our top of descent.
All stations that are approaching top of descent, just stand by. I've got crossing traffic beneath you, so I can't descend you immediately, but it will be a couple of minutes and I'll get you down. Break, Jetstar 720, descend via star to 9,000, Sydney QNH 1012. I'm not quite sure what the universal malady would be for this, but a lot of pilots, when it does get busy and you start having people maintaining levels, they just start to call you up. I think pilots assume that you've forgotten about them because you're so busy, and they want to make sure that they will get their descent on time. Try to control the frequency as best you can. You don't have to, like what I did, I just set a broadcast, everyone, stop calling about your top of descent. I know I can't do anything because of crossing traffic, which is true. Like I can't descend them any further because of this guy. So yeah, stuff like that, try to stay on top of, and it does happen when you get busy, but control the frequency as best you can do.
Denver star 9000, Sydney QNH 1012, Jetstar 720.
Thai 472, leaving my airs. And you can see I moved on too quickly and didn't update the CFL. So stuff like that, it's easy to miss. That's the sort of the effective workload, unfortunately. Base identification and control services terminated, frequency change approved. G'day. Thai 472. Qantas 460, contact Sydney approach 128 decimal 3.
128 decimal 3, Qantas 460, thanks.
Center Qantas 494, maintaining flight level 350.
Qantas 494, Center, g'day, standby. Break, VistaJet 550, correction, 534, descend to flight level 350.
Descend 350, VistaJet 534.
Qantas 198, descend to flight level, correction, maintain 350, apologies. Qantas 433 for sequencing, turn left heading 360 degrees.
Left heading at 360, Qantas 433.
Velocity 897, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
128.3, velocity 897, thanks for your help, sir.
See ya. Jetstar 720, report planned descent speed in knots.
And accept a crossing type, it helps. Blocked.
Qantas 433, say again.
Say again,
Accept
for
a slow
720.
down and a crossing type, it helps.
Sorry, that was blocked again. Qantas 433 only, please say again your request.
Qantas 433, so we're happy to slow down and accept a crossing time if it helps you.
Qantas 433, yeah, that might help. I'll call you back. Break. I actually don't end up taking him up on the request for a crossing time. Sometimes it just helps. Like crossing times, if pilots say they can accept them, that's great usually. But in this situation, I'm just going to vector him, and then when I get time, I'm going to reroute him via the Odell Star, and the rest should be done with speeds. Because he's already basically sequenced with this guy. I did notice at this point when he asked that though, the reason why I said I might take you up on that is because those speeds are closing speeds, and I thought maybe I need to slow him down a little bit, which a crossing time would be perfect for. But right now, because the reroute I haven't already given the reroute, I can't say cross Macca because he doesn't have Macca yet. So yeah, do what you can. Jetstar 720, say again your speed.
We're 300 knots, reducing to 280, Jetstar 720.
Jetstar 720, thanks. Maintain 300 for now.
Maintain 300, Jetstar 720.
Jetstar 724, report mark number.
Mark 76, Jetstar 724.
Jetstar 724, thanks. Maintain mark decimal 76 into 280 knots on descent.
Maintain Mark decimal 76, 280 on descent.
That's quite an aggressive piece of speed control there compared to Jetstar 720. 20 knot differential, and they're already pretty much sequenced. But at the end of the day, that is sort of necessary considering the ground speed. So it is closing speeds, and what I'm anticipating is shortly they won't have 2 minutes, and that's not going to be great. So I am going to need to get this guy to slow down as soon as he can. The issue there is just the Qantas 433 behind is going to be an issue. Luckily, I can see that they're both on vectors, right? So I do already have that flexibility. The reroute hasn't been given. If I need to turn Qantas 433 left by 10 degrees, maybe he needs like 350, and that can just give him that little bit of extra breathing room. Something like that could work as a good plan. But yeah, that's sort of what's going through my head when I'm giving these speed control instructions. It's not just considering a pair of aircraft like these two. You do need to consider like what these two mean in relation to the wider sequence, so all three of them, right? You don't want to slow this guy down too much, even though that would help versus Jetstar 720, because then obviously Qantas 433 won't have any space behind him.
Jetstar 724.
Jetstar 501, report speed.
Jetstar 501, 280 knots.
Jetstar 501, increase speed 310 knots. I wouldn't go any higher than 310 for speed control on descent. Yeah, 310 is a good sort of upper limit that I use. If any higher, and they're going to be a little bit too fast entering the TMA, and they have to slow down a lot over, however many miles it is to touchdown. Oopsie. Yeah, so like this situation is I want Jetstar 501 faster just to close that gap a little bit, and that should alleviate some of the pressure on this guy. He's still going to need to slow down because look at those ground speeds, 510 versus 430. So yeah, this guy might even need to be vectored. And then if he's going to be vectored, then he needs to be vectored as well, and it sort of is the chain going back. Luckily, it's only 2 aircraft, and I've got a good space there, largely due to the Odell reroutes on 16 left as well. So again, lots of things demonstrated there. The first is 310 knots is a good upper limit for your speed control. Second is, once again, consider all the aircraft in the sequence when you're giving speed control. Third is, look how powerful the 1-6 left O'Dowd reroute is at Sydney. It's so good. Like all these aircraft, think about how if I had to sequence them all into one big thing, probably you'd need holds, right? It'd be a huge delay. But no, use it liberally. Get the O'Dowd reroutes in, get them on 1-6 left, and you're good. So, it works very well.
Increase 310, just have 40.
VistaJet 534, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012, on descent, speed 280 knots.
10,000 to 1012 on descent 280 knots, VistaJet 534.
Qantas 198, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
Go get Qantas 198, sorry.
Qantas 198, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
Second flight level 290, Qantas 198.
Jetstar 724, turn right heading 070 degrees, descend to 9,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Right heading 070 degrees, descend 9,000, Sydney QNH 1012, Jetstar 724.
Two reasons why I didn't why I did the vector there. Actually, sort of three reasons. The first is if I were to give the reroute direct to ACME, it's going to take him a little bit of time to program that. That might even be like a minute, right? 1 minute he's there, that's too many miles. I don't want him there. I want him to turn right now. So he'll turn faster given a vector. Second reason, I'm too busy to do a reroute right now. I'll just vector him until I have the time to do that full thing. You got to anticipate not only the time that it takes for you to read out the reroute, but also if they read it back incorrectly, that's a huge waste of time as well. The third reason is keeping him on a vector just gives me more flexibility because I'm not entirely sure how this sequence is going to play out between these three. It's sort of, the speed control has been quite effective, but I'm still noticing the differential on speed there and the differential there. So all the differentials are actually bad. It's all closing. We don't want that. So I want the flexibility of being able to turn him even 10 degrees left or right. Might help me out. Qantas 433, it's easier if I just put you in with the other 1-6 left sequence. So I'm going to send you a rerouting. Actually, I'll give the rerouting on the frequency advisory to copy.
Go ahead, 4.
The decision there was whether I literally just reroute via chat, but that's so not legit. Try to do, or like actually never do that. I stopped myself immediately. I was like, oh, it'd be so good if I could just send him a chat message and not have to do the full thing on frequency. But no, it is a control instruction like anything else. It should be given on frequency. And the reason why I'm giving him the reroute now is because I'm pretty confident at this point that the speeds have started to sort of get into a margin that I'm more happy with, and I think the rest of this sequence can be managed with speed control. So I'm happy to put him on the reroute now.
33.
Qantas 433, cleared, correction, resume on navigation, cleared direct Macca, thereafter Acmere, O'Dowd, for the O'Dowd 7 arrival, runway 16 left, flight level 3, correction, when ready, descend to flight level 29. That is very long. What I did there was I gave the descent as well. I gave resume on navigation. There was a lot in that. This guy said he could accept a crossing time, so I'm hoping he actually is quite an experienced pilot on the network. So I thought he could handle it, but just be really careful when you give like so much information at once, because a lot of people won't be able to get all that. If you were to break it up a bit, what you could do is you could ditch the when ready descend to flight level. You could just say 370, which is current level, and that's usually a bit easier for them, and then give the when ready descent a bit later. But yeah, whatever works. 0.
Okay, we're recleared present ONAV, direct to Macca, that's Acmere, that's O'Dowd for the O'Dowd 7 arrival, runway 16 left, and those confirmed was when ready, follow 250. Qantas 433.
That's correct.
Thanks.
And actually it's not correct because I said 290 and I don't know what happened there. Usually I'm pretty good with readbacks and correcting them, but I toggled off the CFL highlight, so now I think he's going to 290, but he's actually descending to 250. Unfortunate, it happens, but yeah.
Senegal Qantas 454 with you, follow over 370.
Qantas 454, Senegal, standby for start. Jetstar 501, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
Approach 128.3, just 501, good night.
I am pretty happy with the way the sequence has worked out. This sequence has worked out really well. The Odell stuff is good. I'm happy with these guys, but this guy here, the VistaJet 534 versus Jetstar 501, not good. Not happy with that at all. 4.2 versus 4.9, nope, don't want that. Are they both complying with their speed restrictions? Who knows? 280 versus 310, I'd expect a larger differential than that. Although this guy, maybe he probably hasn't even converted yet. He might still be maintaining his Mach number, and therefore hasn't even put in 280 knots yet. So, you know, I don't blame the pilots here, obviously. Just to be clear, like, I think that the speed control I gave could have been more clear. I could have dropped down his Mach number. When he reported his Mach number, I think it was 77 to me. I could have said, okay, reduce to Mach decimal 73 into 280 knots on descent to get him slowed down right away. But I just gave him 280. So that's a speed that he will probably slow to on conversion, not immediately. Anyway, now I've sort of ruined it. Like, at this point, look how many miles I've got, not many. He needs to be vectored. Approach is going to have to deal with that. Kind of sucks. You probably don't want to do that. Try to avoid giving approach more work when it comes to vectoring and stuff. But I am confident I can get him a little bit of a delay here, and then probably he can enter the TMA on a vector. I'll coordinate that. We'll see how it works out. But yeah, that's sometimes what happens. VistaJet 534, stop descent at flight level 110 and reduce speed to 6. And there is probably the most egregious mistake I made in this entire session. I don't even know what I was thinking. I must have just, I don't know, not even going to try to explain it. It was a week ago, who knows. Jetstar 501, I've descended to 10,000. I'm thinking, okay, probably going to lose 5 miles shortly. I'm going to assign VistaJet 534, flight level 110, which is 1,000 feet above 10,000. That is wrong. That is fake separation assurance. It's not real. You can't do that. They're not separated. There's no assurance. It's wrong. Why? Because he's not at 110. He's at 187. So the lowest level that I can assign this guy is 200, flight level 200. That's just true. Like this guy could just start to descend really slowly, and he could start to descend really fast. And then you don't have separation, right? Like this VistaJet 534 could end up below Jetstar 501. When you assign levels, think about it as like clearing them for the entire, like say, okay, he's at flight level 3. Let's just say VistaJet is at 330. When I clear him to 110, I'm clearing him for the entire, like all of the levels in between. I'm saying all of those levels are clear, you are cleared, you're good to go. But they're not clear because at 187 is this other aircraft, right? So just because this guy has, I'm going to get a different color. Yeah, orange. Just because that actually is probably the worst one to choose. Green. Just because he's been cleared to 10,000, like, see how that doesn't work? Like, there's overlapping clearances here. When you clear an aircraft to a level, you're clearing them for all of the levels down to the CFL. So, wrong. Worst mistake I made on this session. So, yeah, that's alright. That's alright. They don't actually lose separation. Luckily, it works out. They lose separation assurance, which, especially when you have high workload scenarios, separation assurance is very important to maintain. Because you can't always monitor very closely. I might be distracted by a star clearance or something else over at the other sequence, and then all of a sudden there's a stacker going off and they've actually lost 5 miles, 1,000 feet. Not a great scenario. 0 knots.
260 knots and stop descent 110, VistaJet 534.
Qantas 198 for sequencing, turn left heading 010 degrees. The other thing here that I also sort of screwed up is the vectoring into the ODAL sequence, right? Like, obviously I intend to turn them both before they conflict with ODAL, and I will apply vertical separation if there's any indication that they might lose 5 miles. But look at all this beautiful space over here in the Wollongong sector that you can absolutely use. Just one little hotline to Wollongong that asks for, you know, you say west of Wollongong, VistaJet 534, any restrictions if I vector them right of route, something like that. No restrictions, done. That's all it takes. Then you can get these guys off into beautiful free airspace. So yeah, I mean, you can do that, but it's actually easier to coordinate, because if I I keep doing that, I keep control Zing too much. Yeah, like it's actually easier for me to do that little coordination call than send them to the left and then have to like constantly monitor separation between these two guys. So would recommend coordination.
Left 010, Qantas 198.
And Qantas 494 approaching your top of the...
The other thing you might notice is the ATIS updated ages ago. I haven't given the broadcast yet. I do intend to do it at some point, but I'm just too busy to prioritize that right now. Leaving it on the yellow mode until I give the broadcast. Qantas 494, stand by, I'll get you descent shortly. Break, Jetstar 720, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
128.3, Jetstar 720, g'day.
Jetstar 724, can you accept a rerouting via Rodale? Shouldn't have said, could you accept, he has to accept it at this point. I'm too far gone now, like I'm not going to put him on the rivet sequence. Not going to happen. So yeah, should have just said rerouting. Like the same thing as before, right? Don't give them an option if you don't have the ability to accommodate both choices that they have.
Jetstar 724.
Jetstar 724, resume own navigation, cleared direct Odale for the Odale 7 arrival, runway 16 left, 9,000 feet.
Clear direct Odale for the Odale 7 arrival, runway 16 left, and over to you with the 9,000, Jetstar 724.
Stations inbound Sydney information Papa now current changes, wind 190 degrees, 9 knots, visibility 5,000 metres, showers of rain, cloud broken 700 feet, broken 900 feet, and broken 1,900 feet. That's Sydney information Papa.
Sydney approach.
Actually, I didn't even vector VistaJet 534, so terrible. I think what I'm doing here is I'm coordinating Sydney approach, saying that it's a non-standard assignment of the flight level 110, which you need to do because the voiceless assignment is 10,000, so you can't just hand him off if he's at a different level. But yeah, obviously still no separation assurance there. Do they have 5 miles? Likely not. Probably have 3 miles, but you know, they're not both in the CMA sector yet. Very bad, very bad. Don't do, would not recommend. Should have just turned him out to the right, get him back in, or give him a stop descent at flight level at this current level, flight level 170 would be the lowest I can give him. Something like that to assure separation. Yeah, that's right.
So is it VietJet 534? That's what we're heading, sorry. Oh, sorry, flight level 110, copy.
VistaJet 534, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
128.3, VistaJet 534, good day.
Qantas 198, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Down to 9,000, QNH 1012, Qantas 198.
Qantas 198, descend to 10,000.
10,000, apologies, Qantas 198.
Again, sort of a bit of an issue there. Obviously it's at 220. I'm descending him now to 10,000. Do they have 5 miles? Don't know. Where's the BRL? No monitoring. How would I know? How would I know if they have separation? So again, one of those things that keep an eye out for that kind of stuff. Sort of towards the end of this session, I guess I'm losing it. I'm losing my marbles with the separation assurance here, which is pretty bad. But yeah, that's all right. That's why turn him right. Turn him right. There's no issue. There's no one in Wollongong. Like, this beautiful airspace here is unused. So sort of it illustrates why you should try to do that whenever possible. Qantas 433, report planned descent speed. Qantas 198, turn right heading 080 degrees.
Right, 080, Qantas 198.
Qantas 433, report planned descent speed.
We're currently at 290 knots, Qantas 433.
Qantas 433, thanks. On descent, reduce speed 270 knots.
Cool, 270 knots, Qantas 433.
Actually, Qantas 433, amendment to that, you can reduce to 270 knots passing flight level 230, normal speed until flight level 230.
Sorry, just say again, the US 270 knots confirmed?
Affirm, normal speed until flight level 230, passing flight level 230, reduce speed 270 knots.
Okay, passing flight level 270, 230, reduce to 270 knots, Qantas 433, I'll get.
A bit of a mouthful there, probably not necessary to have put that restriction on it. I just didn't really want to be too aggressive with it when I didn't need to be, but yeah, I mean, you can do that kind of stuff. You can make your speed instructions conditional on levels. Yeah, I don't know. Probably wasn't the best thing to do in that situation. It works. It works. It's just sort of, communicating that to the pilot was a little bit difficult there. It's a mouthful. Qantas 433, descend by star to 9000, Sydney QNH 1012. And there you go. I'm like, why is this guy breaching his level, flight level 290? He's gone below it. And I thought, I thought this guy was great. But actually, no, it was my fault. I didn't catch that he read back 250. He's descending to 250. So there you go. It has downstream effects when you miss readback errors.
9000, sorry, Qantas 433.
Jetstar 536, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
290 when ready, Jetstar 536.
Qantas 494, star clearance available.
494.
Qantas 494, cleared, rivet for arrival, runway 16 left, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
Route 416 left, leaving throttle 350 for 290, Qantas 494.
Qantas 494. Qantas 198, resume navigation, cleared direct rivet to join the star.
Clear direct rivet 198, Qantas 198.
Jetstar 724, contact Sydney approach 128, decimal 3, g'day.
Approach 128, decimal 3, Jetstar 724.
Qantas 454, star clearance available.
Ready copy, Qantas 454.
Qantas 454, cleared, rivet for arrival, runway 16 right, when ready, descend to flight level 290.
Clear rivet for arrival for 165, when ready, descend to 290, Qantas 454.
Really good demonstration of getting through star clearances there. Keep the phraseology clear, keep it consistent, don't change it up. It's cleared, the arrival, don't say star clearance or anything like that. Just keep it clear, the pilots will sort of follow through. If you do have shaky phraseology that changes every now and then, you don't get the benefit of, like the pilots there are reading back quickly, they know what they're going to get because they're hearing other people get it on frequency. So when you work through clearances like that, try to keep it as consistent as possible. Jetstar 536, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012, speed on descent 310 knots.
10,77310 knots, Jetstar 536.
Jetstar 536, QNH 1012.
1012.
Qantas 494, speed on descent 290 knots.
290 knots, Qantas 494.
Qantas 454, speed on descent 260 knots.
Speed on descent 260, Qantas 454.
Again, consistent phraseology, I'm just giving them the speeds and that's it. No extra stuff in there. They know what they have to do. It's clear, it's consistent, that's what you gotta do. Qantas 198, contact Sydney approach 128, decimal 3, g'day.
Over Sydney approach, cheers for your service, Qantas 198.
Thanks for flying.
Shannon, good evening, Qantas.
You can just about see here what the downstream effects of not giving approach a good sequence. Obviously, my sequence has been perfect so far except for these two, in which they weren't sequenced when I handed them off. So have a look, you can sort of see that's the VistaJet there. He's been cleared to 8,000. This is the, I don't even know what the call sign is, but also 8,000. Look at that. Are they closing speeds? Can I see 3.3 versus 3.4? They're actually opening speeds, which is pretty good. But still, like, what the hell? This is kind of a bad situation for approach to be in. Probably because approach is so busy that they didn't even have time to either scan and see that conflict or give the vector. It's not their fault. That's the reason why Senna needs to give a good sequence to approach. So, you know, it happens. Sometimes you can't always make it perfect when you're busy. That's what happened here. It was only that one aircraft that wasn't sequenced properly, but that just does illustrate the downstream consequences. If you have more than one aircraft not sequenced properly, say my ODAL sequence wasn't perfect, right? I didn't put enough thought into the speed assignments or something, or the speed control that I gave, or the vectors for these guys. approach would be in such a terrible situation. They'd have to vector so many aircraft, and you just don't want to do that. Approach is already busy, even if they don't have to vector anyone. Even if the sequence is perfect, approach is busy. So yeah, just be careful with that. Try to make sure that you keep everyone sequenced while they're in your airspace.
785, climbing flight level 280.
Qantas 785, Melbourne Centre, g'day. Climb to flight level 300.
Flight level 300, Qantas 785.
Qantas 433, speed 260 knots or less.
260 knots or less, Qantas 433.
Oop, I was muted. Well, that's a long-range scan that I'm doing. Probably should have done that in the downtime more at the start, because you can sort of see. Well, now I can see that there's no one. So I mean, that's good. I'm done for the night after this last aircraft. I log off. But what I was actually going to talk about was even though I've handed off this aircraft, that is not out of my mind. It is not out of sight, out of mind. We are a team when we control. You need to think about the aircraft that aren't under your control as well when you're sequencing. I'm still monitoring. I'm still looking at 3.5 versus 3.7. I'm still thinking, ooh, closing speed, not great. He will slow down as he gets lower, but I'm going to put a more aggressive speed restriction just so approach doesn't have to deal with it. So, always important. Don't just hand them off and then be done with them. Do keep checking that kind of stuff as well. Make the other controller's life easier. Qantas 433, contact Sydney approach 128 decimal 3, g'day.
1283, Qantas 433, g'day.
Qantas 494, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
Sydney Boss 10,000, QNH 1012, Qantas 494.
Qantas 454, report mark number.
Mark decimal 77.
Qantas 454, reduced to mark decimal 75, into 260 knots on descent.
Mark decimal 75 into 260 on descent, Qantas 454.
Dropping back is mark number as well, because still got closing speed there, 47 versus 50. Just don't want to lose the good 2 minute separation we've got between them. So that's the thought there. You might have noticed, forgot to mention at the time, but a couple of these aircraft were handed off to approach with rams. Best to avoid that. If you see the ram, you might need to bring up the graphical route tool to have a look and reroute as required. Make sure that because obviously they're on their cleared track, it's just VATSys probably doesn't think, maybe the rerouting, VATSys thinks that they're supposed to be at Macca now or something like that, so you might need to clear them direct ODAL. Something to resolve it. Try not to hand off with rams or anything like that. The ram alert becomes a bit repetitive, it becomes a bit shit when you're controlling on the network, like rams and clams go off all the time and you just ignore them, but they actually do they're a prompt for you to assess the situation to see whether there's some action required on your part. Hard to do when you're busy, but best practice if you can. And here's me now, using the extra time I have to try to figure out TFMS to see if I could get it working for next time. Would be a great tool. Qantas 494, reduce speed 280 knots.
280 knots, Qantas 494.
The actual thing that prompted me to look at TFMS there was because I saw there's an aircraft inbound from the north, and obviously I'm not considering the landing time of this guy as I'm 16 right. I've got a couple coming in 16 right, and I thought, it would be best practice for a center controller to think about that kind of stuff and sequence the aircraft from multiple directions. So I'm looking to see if I can get TFMS to give me a delay that's required for some of these people to get this guy in as well. I don't think I end up working it out. I just need to sort of set up TFMS properly instead of just opening up the window at one point in the event, and make sure that I've got all the views and stuff set up. But yeah, I'm sure that when TFMS, the plugin sort of develops a bit more and it starts to be integrated into our workflow is a bit more. We'll start to get SOPs on it and stuff like that, and people will get more used to it. But it can definitely be a good tool once the plugin's out of development. But yeah, I mean, otherwise, that was a very good sequence overall. Everyone was, except for that VistaJet, everyone was pretty well sequenced into the Team A. It was quite busy, lots in that sort of session there, lots of ODAL reroutes, crossing tracks. Vertical separation was applied pretty well throughout, with the exception of, again, that VistaJet guy with that fake separation assurance. So yeah, there was a lot packed into it. Good reference material for a very typical Milk Run Monday on Gun to Guy. This is sort of what you get. And of course, it's sort of dying now. I wonder if there's anything else to mention before it's already been, what, like an hour 15 or something. Qantas 454 for sequencing, turn left heading 360 degrees.
360 degrees, Qantas 454.
Was that necessary? I think it was. The reason why is in isolation. Well, actually, even not in isolation, they're all just sort of, all of these these speeds are sort of a bit shit right now. Why has my pen become bigger? I don't want that. I liked it what it was before. Oh, what a shame. Okay, 384150. Closing speeds all around. I want that guy to be vectored a little bit so that I have a little bit more space to slow this Qantas 494 down more with speed. To get a good sequence there. So when you're not as busy, you can really focus on the sequences that you're doing and make sure they're perfect. So that's why I did the vector. Qantas 494, reduce speed to 60 knots.
At 260 knots, Qantas 494.
And Jetstar 536, reduce speed to 90 knots. Yeah, now
290 knots.
Qantas 454 has started turning, I can get that speed control applied to 494, slow him down even more. But also it gives me an opportunity. Jetstar 536, contact Sydney approach 128.3, g'day.
Contact approach 138. Was it 128.3?
A firm. Yeah, it gives me an opportunity to slow down Jetstar 536 as well. So it's 290, probably a good speed to enter the Team A. It's at 10,000, so just keep in mind, like, they're supposed to be at 250 knots or less below 10,000. So it's at 290 knots, quite fast. So trying to drop them down. Like, the vectoring just gives me more space to do that kind of stuff, and there's no one behind Qantas 454, so it works out. Qantas 454, descend to 10,000, Sydney QNH 1012.
10,000, 1012, Qantas 454.
Melbourne Centre, g'day, Qantas 783, climbing flight level 280.
Qantas 783, Melbourne Centre, g'day, climb to flight level 300.
Climb flight level 300, Qantas 783.
Qantas 454, resume mode navigation. VRL's indicated I've already got 2 minutes between Qantas 494 and Qantas 454, so I'm happy to give him the own nav back to rivet, and then the rest of any other delays that I need can be absorbed with some speed control, which I've already applied actually. Well, no, I haven't. They're both at 260 knots, but I can apply. I can get Qantas 454 down to 240, 230, something like that to absorb any extra delay that's required. But I don't want to put him on a vector too long. There's no need for it. And clear direct rivet to join the star.
Clear direct rivet to join the star, Qantas 454.
Qantas 454, speed on descent 250 knots.
250, Qantas 454.
Qantas 494, contact Sydney approach 128 decimal 3. Good day.
128 decimal 3, good day, Qantas 494, good night.
See ya. That's pretty much it. Big takeaways from this is probably, I think the biggest one for this video that this demonstrates quite well is workload management, because despite the high workload in that period there, I pretty much used all the tricks in the books to manage it. All the ODL reroutes I could, 1/6 left using those parallel runways effectively. Lots of speed control for sequencing, much easier than vectoring everyone because vectoring requires constant monitoring and increases your workload. Stuff like that. So that's sort of the big thing. Frequency control was big in this video as well. I think I controlled the frequency quite well throughout. There was, lots of... There wasn't actually, considering the amount of aircraft on frequency, there wasn't that many people stepping on each other. And the big way to sort of avoid that is continue moving from one task to the next as quick as possible. Stay on top of everything. And if you do get a bit of chaos on frequency, don't be afraid to just say, like all stations, you got to stand by if you're required to stand. I'll get to you later. That just sort of calms everyone down. Because think about it, one guy calls up requesting further descent, and then all the other people who are also awaiting descent are like, oh, I better call too because he called and he got it. So that's sort of what ends up happening. It spirals out of control, and you can't control the frequency. You can't control the aircraft because you're spending your whole time responding to pilots calling up for lower levels. The other thing that this illustrated quite well was separation assurance and separation. So most of the, separation assurance was applied to everyone throughout except for that one aircraft, the VistaJet. So we had good examples of how to apply separation assurance with level assignments correctly with those crossing tracks, and also examples of how you can miss separation assurance and how easily that can have downstream effects in the TMA. So overall, pretty good demonstration of what Gunter Guy has to offer on Milkrun Monday, or any busy traffic period. Then just wait till you get events like F&O Down Under and you've got multiple streams to sequence and it becomes even worse. But yeah, hope that video was helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to the training team and I'm sure anyone would be able to help you out. Any questions from this video, you can chuck it in the comments. But yeah, that's it. Thanks for watching. See you next time.